On with our regular scheduled meeting. I'd like to ask for a moment of silence. And at this time, I'd like to remember the victims who sacrificed their life and lost their lives on this day 17 years ago. So we keep their families in our hearts and prayers, and thank you to the first responders who were on the scenes to help with that horrific incident, tragedy. And now I'd like to ask for the rise of Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we vote on the consent agenda, I did want to announce that item number 8, facility use request by Superhero Events to hold a pregame 4-miler race on Sunday, February 3rd, 2019, was requested to be pulled from the agenda by the applicant late this afternoon.
And actually, further conversation, the applicant has since pulled their application altogether.
Okay.
And has elected to move their event to Morris Township.
Okay.
Okay.
We also had...
Discussed that during the mayor's slot. Not happy about that.
Okay, we also had a last-moment request come in for Cobb Place Block Party to be held on September 22nd, 2018. So I would ask for a motion, please, to add the Cobb Place Block Party to the consent agenda this evening.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
Okay. Councilman Armington?
Yes.
Councilwoman Davis?
Yes.
Councilwoman Deeb?
Yes.
Councilman Elms?
Yes.
Councilman Iannacone?
Yes.
Councilman Silva?
Yes.
Motion carries. So we have a total of 9 items on the consent agenda this evening. Unless a member of council would like to pull one out for separate consideration, I would ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I will abstain from 3 to 7. I wasn't here in 2017, and I was absent on the meeting of August 7th.
Okay.
And because I know you're catching up with a lot of work from the past, I want to commend you for that, Ms. Margo.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Seems
Okay.
like
you're-
you've been here longer than 2017.
Right? I'd like to make a motion to approve.
I will also abstain from number 3 and number 4. I was not here on August 7th.
Okay. May I have a second, please?
Second.
Okay. Councilman Armington?
Yes.
Councilwoman Davis?
Yes.
Councilwoman Deeb?
Yes.
Councilman Elms?
Yes.
Councilman Iannacone?
Yes.
Councilman Silva?
Yes.
And Council President Foster?
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, at this time, I'll open up the public hearing. If there are any members of the public wishing to be heard, please come before us, state your name, address, and please try to keep your comments to under 5 minutes. Yes, you can come before us and stand at the microphone.
Hi, my name is Janet Oriema. I live at 81 Ketch Road. And thank you for letting me speak today. I'm here to advocate for people with disabilities like me. I live under the arc of Morris County. I work locally at ShopRite. Have for several years. I attend church and sing in the choir at St. Virgil's. I'm here to advocate for more housing under ARC for people with disabilities. We need more units built locally that offer options for single living space. Some people like myself do better without roommates. Building more local units will help people stay closer to their families, jobs, etc. Please spread the word that we need more local living options for the disability. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Billy, feel like I haven't seen you all summer. He's hiding from us.
Good evening. My name is Bill Byrne. I live at 100
Franklin Street, Apartments, E110, Morristown. I'm here to talk about the bicycle safety program, or the bicycle ordinance, because what happened, number one, I know everybody's been talking about like this bike sharing program. It's a great thing to have, but I got a problem with it when you're willing to get a bike sharing program in. Okay, number one, it's going to add more bikes to the problem, because the reason why I say that, number one is you want to get a bike sharing program, and that's great, but the problem is with that, you get a bike sharing program in, it adds more of a mess, because you got law enforcement in this town that cannot enforce the laws. And also too, our police, our law enforcement, they take an oath to serve and protect the people of this community. And as a law enforcement, you can't just pick and choose and say, well, hey, if somebody's robbing a bank, okay, well, I'll serve and protect. But if people are biking on the sidewalk, well, you know, hey, the walkers don't matter. The people that walk in the sidewalks don't matter. And what gets me kind of questionable here is, why is our committee doing all the compromising, but we're not getting anything in return? And how you can do that is, number one, you want us to compromise? Look, I don't mind compromising. It's a good thing. But, you know, if we're not going to get anything in return, you know, and not having law enforcement enforce this, it's not good. This is a walking town, okay? You got tourism, you got, you know, people coming in town. Well, you got to make sure that the sidewalks are safe so people can walk, people can go to restaurants. The other time when I was down in the town of Morristown, I was sitting down talking to Tim, and this cyclist came down, and I was sitting, I wasn't walking, just missed me about that much. So I just ask you, you know, let's, you know, continue compromising, but let's all work together to work with our law enforcement and to get this enforced, because it's really not right, you know, for the people. Thank you.
Thanks, Billy.
Thanks, Bill.
I'm Suzanne Warren from 31 Western Avenue in Morristown. I was here last time.
Name again, please.
Suzanne Warren, W-A-R-R-E-N, 31 Western Avenue. I was here last month, and I proposed some changes to enhance the safety and well-being for the residents of Western Avenue. And I wanted you to know, if you need any further information from me to make that decision, I'm available, and I want to offer myself in that regard. One thing I did do in the interim was count the cars, just so I could get a sense of how much traffic there was, and to give that to you. I know it's not a fair comparison, because I couldn't legally and lawfully stop the traffic from turning from the highways. I'm rushing because I'm trying to keep under my 5 minutes.
Take your time, you don't have to rush.
I couldn't stop the traffic from turning onto the residential streets from the highway, Route 24. So I counted the cars on the weekend. 151 passed going in an eastern direction on Western Avenue towards...
151?
151 in 2 hours between 7 and 9. And then I counted them on Monday, probably a depressed amount because it was a holiday. They're probably more on a regular day. But within 34 minutes, it reached 151 and ended up with a total of 707. So that's about 1.25 cars per minute on a end, and at almost 6 per minute on a weekday, and that doesn't count the cars going in the opposite direction, just to give you some sense of how that traffic increases. And one of the proposals that I made was to have a limitation and prohibit turning from Route 24 onto the residential streets between 7 and 9. And while I'm here, I just want to thank the council as well as the mayor for being mindful of the safety and well-being of all the residents. One, by the cooling and heating centers, by the newsletters and alerts. I think that's really helpful, and it gives a sense of community that we didn't have in prior years. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, if there are no other members wishing to be heard, I'd like to close the public hearing. All right, any council member responses to or comments for public hearing, members of the public?
I
Councilwoman
do.
Deep?
Thank you, Council President. Regarding Susan Warren, at the meeting on August 7th, Ms. Warren expressed frustration over the resident parking and recommended changes in the parking regulations in order to limit courthouse parking on Western. She had suggested crosswalks and a no turn on red signage to promote pedestrian safety. That was in our minutes of August 7th. And the response during the administrative response was that the administration was going to look into that and get back to us. So I just was wondering if there's been any, believe Ms. Barrick, you said you would review the correspondence with engineering and the police department to determine the appropriate response. So has there been any movement on that since August 7th?
I'll have a full response at the next council meeting.
Thank you very much.
Just following up on Billy's comments, I do know that the police department and the administration has been working with the state, or basically there's some state Rutgers University on developing a pilot project for New Jersey for enforcement of bicycle issues, both bicycle actions and also cars on bicycles. And I understand that, or at least the latest input was that would be rolling out sometime this fall. So if the administration has anything more to add on that, that'd be
You're
great.
correct. We've already started the process, and we've been working with Ranjit from his organization, which is a long acronym that I'm blanking on as of right now. But we've been working. We've had our police officers training with them on bicycle safety and state statutes, as well as our local ordinances, and I expect that program to continue along with enforcement efforts to happen through October. And we're also filming some public service videos, the PSA videos as well, regarding bicycle safety, and that'll be part of that program.
Good.
Yes. Okay, moving on to, do you have any proclamations or presentations for the mayor?
Just a couple things. One, just to follow up on the bicycle safety. Billy, thanks for coming up. Our acting chief of police here is sitting here, so I'm sure he heard you loud and clear. I do believe that the chief has expressed to the rank and file and his brass that this is something that the administration is very serious about through the education and enforcement, that if it's education that's needed, then you should give somebody a warning, educate them on the process of what they're allowed to do with a bicycle on the sidewalk. If they're 14 years or younger, they're allowed to ride on the sidewalk. If they're 30 years old and they don't want to ride on South Street, then they have to walk their bike down the street until they get to an area where they feel safe to ride it. So it's not that it's not falling on deaf ears. It's something we're taking very seriously. And as we move forward with our public safety director, that will be an issue. That will be a part of quality of life issue that we'll be working on, that and many other aspects that affect the quality of life within the residents and the people that are walking our downtown and other areas. And I've received enough emails and phone calls on the issue And it's something we've been talking about for quite a while, but now we're at the point where it's going to, we're going to deal with it. One way or another, we're going to deal with it. So thank you for coming forward, and I was the one he was referring to, Tim, sitting there having coffee when, in case you didn't know, when a group of people, and we experienced exactly what the issue we're talking about, we experienced. So we're seeing it firsthand, and we're talking to the police department. Like I said, the acting chief is here. You can pass it on down the ranks. I know it's not sexy. It's not something that maybe law enforcement doesn't want to get out and talk about it. But you know what? It's important, because if somebody gets clipped in the back when they're walking with a child or something by a cyclist that couldn't maneuver around somebody going too fast on the sidewalk, then it becomes a bigger issue. So why don't we deal with it as an educational piece first, enforcement piece second, but let's get out and we have done proactive with trans options. We have done work on this already, but we need to continue to do more and be vigilant on it. So I thank you, Billy, for continuing to be our eyes and ears out in the public. Western Avenue, we'll be doing a lot of trip counts. We'll be doing car counts on Western to get our accurate number, and we should have some good information for you at the next meeting. I think the public session, if you want to open it back up, you can. I'll wait.
You probably have a mouthful.
No, go ahead.
Well, wait 1 second.
You got to come up.
I'd like to make a motion to reopen the public hearing so that we can hear from the resident who now wants to come before us. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
You have to come to the mic.
Is Wendy Rice. I live at 7 Hamilton Road.
Hello,
in
Wendy.
Morristown. Hi. Yeah, my thing was really the bike thing, because I've lived here for almost 19 years, and I walk all over Morristown and the neighborhoods, the town, Fort Nonsense, all over the place. I've almost been hit many, many times. I'm a bicyclist also, but I tend to follow the rules when I'm on the road. You want to have a road bike, I'm on the road. Mountain bike, I'm in the mountains or whatever. I've almost been hit so many times in front of Eric's Jewelers, on Franklin Street. Actually, today, walking down from Fort Nonsense, coming up the courthouse road, I have pictures. I take out my cell phone. I have proof of everything. I have videos, pictures, people outside of Century 21 having to maneuver. Oh, for the bike. The guys half the time, earbuds, on the phone, one hand, not paying any attention to anybody. I have many, many examples of that. And the feeling, what really bothered me is that there was a sign on South Street, right across from King's, that says clearly, no bicycling, over 14 years of age, no bicycling, skateboarding, rollerblading, scooter riding on sidewalks, town of Morristown, ordinance, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I'm like, wow, that's great. I didn't know that was there. A few days later, it's down. I was like, really? Why? What is the deal with this? What's the mystery? Why does it have to be sexy to protect the citizens and
Yeah, probably shouldn't have
me?
used that word, but.
So, I don't understand why this is difficult. I really don't. When you are on a bike, you are considered to be, you're a vehicle. Yes, there are roads where cyclists may be at risk, but that is the nature of the activity which you accept when you choose the bike as your mode of transportation. The idea that you can head onto a sidewalk anytime you feel uncomfortable is a selfish act that in essence says, my safety is more important than yours. And that entitled attitude is precisely the issue here and the problem that needs to change. If you cannot, the onus is on the cyclists to protect themselves. If they can't do that, then you know what? If it's beyond you, you need to join me and others as a sidewalk pedestrian and not make the sidewalks into side bikes lanes in Morristown. So it's pretty simple. And
Thanks,
again,
Wendy.
I've always been hit. So,
Thanks.
Thank you.
thank you.
And I'd just like to now put a name to the face. I have had correspondence back and forth with Wendy, so I didn't know who. Now I know who. And I have seen you on the street walking many times. Close the public session.
I was, motion to close public session.
Sorry about that. Thank you, Wendy. Thank you for letting me speak. Yep, and it's something that we are taking very serious, and hopefully we won't have too many more phone calls and emails going back and forth with each other. But thank you for your correspondence. Real quickly, past events, I want to recognize what happened on August 9th. It doesn't seem like we haven't been here in a month, and the last special meeting and before that was August 7th, so it's been a while. The March for Our Lives, those young kids again brought the kids from Parkland, Florida, to a national voter registration and youth empowerment initiative at Ledgerwood. Governor came, Senator Booker came. It was well attended. Those young kids really are motivated, and they're to be commended. And we want to thank Parkland, students from Parkland that came all the way up to the tour, and they picked Morristown as one of their places to go. And we want to thank the governor and Senator Booker for coming and sharing some time. And First Lady Tammy Murphy was there also to share with the students and hear from the kids from Parkland and how they were affected. We had a senior picnic the 15th, which is always a lot of fun. St. Margaret's Church held its carnival, which was great. We had our Jazz and Blues Festival. We got 3 acts in, and then the rain came. The good news is the 2 great acts that we had, I think, are already signed up for next year. So that'll be great to have them back. But overall, we had a great attendance, and it was a lot of fun up until the heavy rains came at 7 o'clock that night, and there was nothing we could do. It's been a rainy summer. We just had to deal with it, and hopefully next year it'll be better. The 30th of August, Mike, was the final Meet Me in Morristown, which I was not in town. I was away, and I heard it was a huge success. I heard it was the town was jumping. Antonio Cardona, you may know his daughter, Martha Bentoncourt. He celebrated his 100th birthday.
Wow.
He's a Morristown resident. We had a thing for him at the library, did a proclamation for him. It was really well attended, and they had another party for him at Sunday. We had a thing at the library on the 26th. It was great. 100 years old. It's just amazing, and he's in great shape. Smart, wits. It's just amazing. So we kind of all asked, what are you drinking? What are you eating? And I think maybe it's stress-free is probably a critical thing, right, Bob? Not to have much stress in your life?
You tell me.
September 2nd, Bethel had back-to-school community block party at Bishop Nasri Way. On the 8th, Community Health Day was held at the headquarters plaza. Again, that's a great event. Dwight Peavy puts on, from the Church of God in Christ, they put on a community event that is just fabulous. Atlantic Health is very active, lots of different organizations all about health, screening, lots of different screening opportunities for your health. It's just terrific that you get these services. If you don't have insurance, they can do the screening. It's really a really great service to our community. We had the Kids Grand Fondo at the Vale Mansion, which is always a great fun. It's so much fun watching the kids run around with their bikes like it's their fondo. And then, of course, September 9th was the Grand Fondo. It was well over 2,000 cyclists. We had dignitaries from all over. It was just an amazing event. We had a little bit of rain, but you know what? Those hardcore cyclists, they still got out and did that 100-plus miles. And 60 miles, 40-something miles, 18.
75 also. Yeah.
How much you do?
I didn't do anything.
Oh, you didn't do anything this year? Michael, you didn't do it this year either, right?
Nope.
But they have in the past done the Grand Fondo. And
I have to.
That's right.
They're creating a new ride, 200 miles next year.
Oh, I'm not doing that, so you have to worry about that. Can you drive it? No, it's a cycling event. Yes, if you could drive it. On the 12th, town employee flu shots in the health division, employees only. That's the 12th, that's flu shots. So those who aren't employees, you should go get your flu shots. Flu shots are now starting to be available. I know people don't get flu shots. I do get flu shots. I don't think that matters, but you should think about it, especially with the amount of warm, rain, wet, and stuff out there. Who knows what kind of season it's going to be. And so flu shots, it's that time. September 15th, I am not announcing that, the first part of that. Day is the annual Community Family Day at Caldwell Playground. That's from noon to 6 p.m. I don't know who put this on there, the other event that's happening that day, but I'm not making an announcement to the public. So on the 18th, everybody's going to sit there, what the hell is he talking about? What the heck's he talking about? I should never say that word publicly. It's my birthday, Saturday, the 15th.
Oh.
Tuesday,
Why
September.
the council approved that block party?
Yeah, and it's on there. There's no reason to be. There's no reason to be on there.
It's open to the public.
Part of your calendar of events.
September 18th from 6:30 to 8:30. Cops and Riders final show at the Green. So let's go out and throw some support to the PBA for their Cops and Riders. It's really a cool thing to see some of the hot rods and the old muscle cars from the years where I grew up. There's a lot of 70s cars there, which is kind of cool. Anyway, it's a good event. We really think PBA has done a great job in promoting that program for the downtown. I think a lot of people enjoy it.
When is that, Mayor?
That's the 18th of September, 6:30 to 8:30. The 18th of September. And the final thing for this is Saturday, September 22nd, 8 a.m., George Granby Day Recovery Walk at George Granby Memorial Park. They have a walk for the town for our recovery community. It's very well attended. My wife and I do the walk every year. Everybody from the community is invited to walk. It's a great thing. Morristown is a great place for people to get help and change their lives and do some great things. And so we're very supportive of the recovery walk at George Granby for the 22nd of September. That's at 8 a.m., George Granby Day Recovery Walk at George Granby Memorial Park.
Well, is the walk starting from the park, or is it going to start from?
It says it starts from the park, 8 a.m.
Wasn't it in Lewanica last year?
No,
No,
it started at.
it started at-
is it Ginty?
Hall and
It started at Town Hall, and then, no, I forget where it
No,
started last year.
Ginty.
Ginty,
From
I picked it up like Town Hall, because I had something else that morning. So that's where it
So
says.
is it at Ginty or?
Well, here's the best way to do it. Check the website. It'll be on the website.
Okay.
We'll have it on the website. I don't think there's anything more. Anything from you? Feej? Anthony? Just kidding.
address the race thing in your.
Oh,
comments.
yeah, thanks. I completely forgot about that because we're having so much fun. Chris Russo. So come up here for a second, because Chris is a good friend. And is Heather here too? Where's Heather? Come on up, Heather.
Hi, Chris.
So these guys have an organization called Superheroes. And what I think people don't understand as much as I do and how much I like these guys is their events raise money for charity. A lot of money for charity. Meals on Wheels, a very important charity. As money is as tight as it is at the county, these guys raise money for such a needed cause. And they've pulled their application from Morristown to do their Super Bowl superhero run, which I'm disappointed in, but I understand their reasoning. But I think that in the future, because they do a lot of events in Morristown, I think that what I see as a promotion of, people see as a road race or an event, I see as community building. I see as people go to meet people when they have these different types of organizations that bring people together. I see an organization that raises money for a need, a very big need with Meals on Wheels, and I see something that's extremely positive and progressive for the community. I think these types of activities are something that's important to our community, and I'm not begrudging you doing it in any other community. I just know your organization. I know who you two are, and you're two great citizens of the town of Morristown. And we're happy to and grateful to have people like you that want to be involved in our community and do the things that you do, especially for charity. I know that other council members and other people tried to work out a route that it just didn't seem to work the way we wanted it to work, or you guys didn't come to the right focus that it could have been done. I think starting next year, we talked about this in our office. We'd like to work with the council. We want you to come in early, like right after the event, and come in and talk to us, talk to the council, talk to their subcommittee, talk to us, this administration, talk to us about other opportunities we see in the future, like Pioneers Plaza as a place that we're going to be able to have programming out of, and maybe have that superhero event that day there, and then find a route that works with you guys throughout the town, because I think it's great that you know the other towns take it on and it works. But I think it's something that's important and special for Morristown. For me, you guys do a lot of events. I think it's a great event. Sorry to see you pull it, but I want you to know that the administration supports what you guys do. You're both residents of the town of Morristown. You both are invested in the town of Morristown. What you bring to this community is more than just a superhero race. It's community building. It's positiveness. It's what we stand for in this community, and we appreciate, at least I do, and I'm sure the council does too, appreciate what you bring to this community with your organization, especially for charity. I just want to publicly thank both of you, and hopefully we can get together and put something really good together for next year.
Thank you, Mayor. We appreciate that. Thank you, Ken. Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck with the race.
Thank you very much.
That's all I got.
All right, moving on to, we have the presentation reports listed. We don't have to go through that, so we'll move on to council liaison reports. Any reports from council members?
Yeah, the Environmental Commission met last Tuesday, so.
Anything to report or?
I think just it was standard agenda, and just I'd be interested in I'm continually interested in all the things that they're talking about. It's all interesting. It seems like there's a lot of environmental issues, especially with all the trees and the weather and the elm ash borer disease and how that's affecting the trees. But I encourage members of the public, if they have any interest in Environmental Commission issues, that they should come out to those meetings. They're the first Tuesday of every month at 7 o'clock. And I guess the only outstanding thing that I saw was that we're still waiting for a detailed report from the engineer on the hydrology study for Foots Pond. That's I guess been delayed or postponed, so that would be really interesting. And I was happy to attend the opening along with the mayor and Councilman Armington on the community garden on Early Street. So that was interesting to see that beautiful garden there. And I guess just I had written down two things that I wanted to ask the administrator about, which was the bamboo ordinance, because that had come up and it was in the minutes. And I didn't know if we had received the information that was promised back to us on the bamboo stuff, and also the markings of Lidgerwood Park to identify the passive and the active recreation areas, because there had been some interest in a community garden in the Fourth Ward. So I was interested in seeing if we could mark out just if there was any space at the Lidgerwood area.
I have the information for you for Lidgerwood, and I can discuss that with you after the meeting.
Okay.
Yep.
Thanks.
Hello.
Hello.
The Morristown Partnership does not meet during the month of August, so there was no last meeting. We are meeting tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. As the mayor mentioned, the final Meet Me in Morristown was at the end of August. It was great. I wasn't able to attend either. But the next big event on the calendar for everybody to know about is the Meet Me in the Festival on the Green. Festival on the Green will be September 30th from 12 to 5 p.m., which is always a great event with many thousands of people coming to town. Not immediately, but very soon after that is the Morristown Festival of Books, which will be the weekend of October 12th and 13th. And then, of course, the Farmers Market is still going strong every Sunday until mid-November. And I don't think Jennifer is here, but I think she would want everyone to know that the partnership launched their new website. So it's same URL as before, morristown-nj.org. So it's a new website. They've been working on it for, I think, a year and a half or something, and we're all excited about it. It's a big upgrade.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Parking Authority did meet last week. As previously reported, the Parking Authority is in the process of developing Lot 10. They have been expending monies on engineering studies. An architect has been retained. The architect happens to be the same architect that developed the other garages in town. But it's interesting. The Wilmot Business Association asked to meet with me. They're the businesses that are along Wilmot. And I met with them over this past week, and their concern is they're very positive and they're very supportive of the idea of a garage. What they're concerned about is the design of the garage and the construction phase of the garage. What impact will that have on their businesses? Again, these are small businesses. Losing revenue for a month, 2 months, 3 months could be detrimental to their business, to the viability of their businesses. I reviewed the same with the mayor, and the mayor, as you previously might recall, asked Phil to take a look at the design of the garage, the placement of the garage, and work with the Port Parking Authority on the design and the development of the garage. That being said, we were waiting till after Labor Day, I believe. Labor Day is over. The mayor and I were talking. Phil will be organizing, I believe, some meetings with the community and with the Parking Authority and other interested parties as to the design of the garage, the placement of the garage, and maybe even extend it somewhat to the phasing of the construction and what accommodations might be made for those businesses on Wilmot. Wilmot, as many of you have known, has been an area that has various level of success in retaining businesses over the years, but we're very, very fortunate that the businesses along Wilmot really have kind of anchored themselves and seem to be doing well, from the golf stores to Fit for Life to edibles. It's a good group of stores. So I think everybody has everybody's interest at heart, and I think we'll be reporting back soon about a cooperative meeting that we'll be setting up. Right, Mayor?
Mm-hmm. The Housing Authority met on August 27th.
Oh, by the way, just one other point. Ron Murray, who was going to talk about the Wilmot Property Association, could not be here till 7:45. So you may show up.
So Keith Kennard, the new director, the mayor knows about this. He is applying for a grant to help turn all of the residents in Manahan Village, I'm having a hard time explaining it, but basically he's going to make it so that all of the residents will have Section 8, kind of, what is it, Section 7?
Site-based Section 8.
Site-based Section 8, what she said. And, I mean, obviously, it can't be moved to another location, but it will help, fix all of the things that are wrong with Manahan Village, because based on the budget and based on money that had been borrowed against what they, would get in the future, prevents them from handling major issues with the property. He's done a really great job. He's hired another person for the Section 3 program, which hires local residents to do the maintenance jobs and whatever other jobs they qualify for within the inner workings of the Housing Authority. And what the mayor and I were talking about was we notice more and more that there are less complaints. Literally when it's the public portion, people are just sitting there they don't have anything to say, which is a great thing considering how it's been in the past. That's all.
Can I modify two more things, Council President?
Sure.
One is, and this triggered from Councilwoman Deeb's comments, there is an opening on the Environmental Commission. So those who want to serve on the Environmental Commission, anybody in the public, or sees this or get this on the website, we'll be having an opening. We do have a resignation because of a conflict of another job. So somebody has to step down, a good member, but he's working for the state. So there is an opening. Chris? No, I'm kidding. So if anybody interested in the audience or in the public, please send your resume in. It is a mayor's appointment. So we'd love for you to get involved. It's actually a very good working commission. They really have sunk their teeth into some really good stuff in town. And they were instrumental with helping us with the preservation of 11 acres. Open space next to Foots Pond. So we look forward to anybody who wants to help out, and the Environmental Commission is a great place to start to get involved in. Other than that, just to piggyback on what Councilwoman Davis said, I don't know if you have all met the new executive director, but you should. You should.
Maybe we should invite him.
Invite him or facilitate to go over and meet him at the housing. and talk to them, because Morristown Housing has landed one of the best executive directors they could have ever hoped for. He's an amazing guy, lawyer by trade, executive director, well known from Pittsburgh to DC. Just an incredible hire for Morristown's housing. So I suggest that we can facilitate that, or the clerk can facilitate it. The council president, you guys can, the council liaison could facilitate meeting some of the council members. I think it would behoove the council to do that, so they know who they're working with and hear some of his ideas and some of his vision moving forward with our public housing. Other than that, thank you, Council President, for the extra few minutes.
Anytime.
Council President, I just wanted to introduce or mention that Christopher, a young high school student, was here from a Boy Scout troop in town, and he had to leave. I guess they left early, but I wanted to acknowledge that he was here this evening as part of his civic duty.
Wow.
And I guess they left early, but I did want to recognize that I saw him in the audience.
Well, we appreciate him coming out and picking a council meeting to do his civic duties for us.
His name, for the record, is Christopher Cortez.
Christopher Cortez. All right, thank you. All right, moving on to calendar of events. I know the mayor has done his. Are there any calendar of events that council members want to make the public aware of before we start regular business?
Just as Seeing Eye Doggy Dash is coming up.
Remember in the rain we did the
So that's, I think, we'll have another meeting before that, but it would be fun to get a council team together. It's a very easy walk. You don't have to have a dog. It's a fundraiser for the Seeing Eye. I believe it's Saturday, October 7th, if I'm not mistaken, from 9:30 to 12:30. It's in Lidgerwood Park. So it's a 5K, but you don't have to do the 5K, and then the walk is much smaller. So it's a lot of fun. And then if obviously if you do have a dog, it's pet friendly. So you can get information on the seeingeye.org website. It's called the Doggy Dash.
All right, thank you. Moving on to regular business.
Okay, we have one ordinance for introduction this evening, ordinance O-31-2018, an ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 4, Section 5, sidewalk cafes. Can I have a motion to introduce?
I'd like to make a motion to introduce. Second.
Any comments or questions?
Do we have a problem with fire pits?
I don't. I don't.
Or is this just preventative?
The ordinance is really not, well, for fire pits we're not going to have them because our fire marshal, Mike Geary, is stating that they're kind of a danger for people walking around them, depending on where you have it, such restaurants and stuff. This is mainly for the mushroom heaters that a lot of restaurants are having. We're finding them a lot closer to awnings and such, which becomes a fire hazard.
Okay.
So the fire pits are more of a human issue with people falling into it.
Thank you. Okay.
So I had a question about this, thank you. Is this going to allow awnings in front of restaurants in the wintertime, and so that people can sit outside during the wintertime and all of that?
It's not for the awnings as much as for the mushroom heaters is where they're going to be placed and how they're going to be stored. You don't want them within 5 foot of it or anything flammable.
Correct. It doesn't amend the sidewalk cafe ordinance, and as far as the time of year that a sidewalk cafe is allowed. It simply says if you're going to use these types of heaters as part of your sidewalk cafe, you have to adhere to certain safety standards so that you don't create a fire hazard.
Okay.
Yeah, and this wasn't done because we had a problem somewhere. This is being
Preventative measure.
Yes, they're being preventative.
Okay.
So they're being preventative. I'll leave it at that.
Call the question?
On the introduction of O-31-2018, Councilman Armington.
Yes.
Councilwoman Davis.
Yes.
Councilwoman Deeb.
Yes.
Councilman Elms.
Yes.
Councilman Iannacone.
Yes.
Councilman Silva.
Yes.
Council President Foster.
Yes.
Ordinance has been properly introduced and will be considered further during a public hearing on September 25th. We have 4 ordinances for public hearing and adoption this evening. Ordinance number O-27-2018, an ordinance amending and supplementing the code of the Town of Morristown, Chapter 7, Traffic, Section 7-40.2, handicap parking on streets for private residences, to amend the placard number assigned to a dedicated parking space for a resident on Cobb Place.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt ordinance O-27-2018.
Second.
Any members of the public wishing to be heard on this ordinance tonight? Seeing none, I'll close the public portion. Any questions or comments from council? Call the question?
Councilman Armington?
Yes.
Councilwoman Davis?
Yes.
Councilwoman Deeb?
Yes.
Councilman Elms?
Yes.
Councilman Iannacone?
Yes.
Councilman Silva?
Yes.
Council President Foster.
Yes.
Ordinance O-27-2018 is adopted. Ordinance number O-28-2018, an ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 7, Traffic.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt ordinance O-28-2018.
Second.
Any members of the public wishing to be heard on this ordinance? Seeing none, I'll close the public portion. Any questions or comments from council members?
Thank you, Council President. So at the last meeting, I asked if Speedwell Avenue, I had a question about that because, so a truck is going on Sussex and they're coming down from, say, Morris Township. And when they get to that intersection of Speedwell and Sussex, what is that truck to do? They're not permitted in the town from that intersection from, I think it merges onto Speedwell, and it goes by past Headquarters Plaza and then the Green. So say if they're going southbound from Sussex, they would not be permitted in town? They'd have to turn before.
The ordinance, my understanding is that this ordinance removes Speedwell Place as a shortcut,
Speedwell Place, not Speedwell Avenue.
not Speedwell Avenue.
I know, so right now, no trucks are allowed on Speedwell Avenue?
Speedwell
No,
Place.
Speedwell Place.
Speedwell Place.
No, I know, but I'm looking at clause 724.
Correct. The trucks over 4 tons are only allowed in these streets.
Okay, so,
And they had Speedwell Place on the prior list.
okay, so I know, I'm just trying to understand. So, for example, McCulloch Hall isn't on here, Maple isn't on here, Speedwell Avenue isn't on here. So trucks over 4 tons are not allowed on those streets.
Speedwell Avenue is a state highway, so it's permitted on a state highway by nature of the state highway laws. It's not subject to local ordinance,
Oh,
which is
these
why
are
you would not
local
see-
streets.
Yes.
Okay.
That's why you don't see Speedwell Avenue in the ordinance.
And can you help me understand what exactly would a vehicle over 4 tons look like? Is that a tractor trailer, or is it a moving van, or?
Could be like a box truck.
Like a big dump truck.
Is
like
it a box
Like a
truck?
5-ton dump, you know, you see the big dump
Garbage
trucks?
truck
Garbage truck,
18-wheelers.
18-wheeler.
Well,
Oh, that'd be more than 4 tons.
They way more,
You asked for an example.
so.
Good point.
So if you see a truck that's way more bigger than, so are you, and it's not and it is on McCulloch or Maple, or you can call the police and say that
camera out, start snapping away.
Yes.
Yes, and I believe, and I'm not going to speak for the chief that's here, Acting Chief Buckley, but there's only a certain amount of tonnage allowed up Abbott Avenue, and there's been many times police have pulled over a supermarket truck that's making a cut through to go over to MLK to head over to ShopRite. So they're not allowed to go up Abbott Avenue. It's over 4 tons, right? So they have enforced over many times trucks going up Abbott Avenue, which aren't allowed. So they enforce when they see it. I mean, obviously, they can't be on every street at every moment, but when they see it, they enforce it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Okay, call the question, please.
Councilman Armington?
Yes.
Councilwoman Davis?
Yes.
Councilwoman Deeb?
Yes.
Councilman Elms?
Yes.
Councilman Iannacone?
Yes.
Councilman Silva?
Yes.
Council President Foster?
Yes.
Ordinance O-28-2018 is adopted. Ordinance O-29-2018, an ordinance amending and supplementing the code of the town of Morristown, Chapter 7, Traffic, Section 40.2, handicap parking on streets for private residences, to add dedicated handicap parking space for a resident of 10 Logan Place.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt ordinance O-29, 2018.
Thank you.
Any members of the public wishing to be heard on this ordinance? Seeing none, I'll close the public portion. Any questions or comments from council members? Call the question, please.
Councilman Armington?
Yes.
Councilwoman Davis?
Yes.
Councilwoman Deeb?
Yes.
Councilman Elms?
Yes.
Councilman Iannacone?
Yes.
Councilman Silva?
Yes.
Council President Foster?
Yes.
Ordinance O-29-2018 is adopted. Ordinance number O-30-2018, ordinance reappropriating $72,500 proceeds of obligations not needed for their original purpose in order to provide for resurfacing and repairs to the Burnham Park main pool in and by the town of Morristown in the county of Morris, New Jersey.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt ordinance O-30-2018.
Second?
Open up the public hearing for this ordinance. If there are any members of the public wishing to be heard, please come before us. If not, close the public portion. Any questions or comments from council members? Thank you. Call the question, please.
On the adoption of 30-2018, Councilman Armington?
Yes.
Councilwoman Davis?
Yes.
Councilwoman Deeb?
Yes.
Councilman Elms?
Yes.
Councilman Iannacone?
Yes.
Councilman Silva?
Yes.
Council President Foster?
Yes.
All right, I'm just.
Ordinance O-30-2018 is adopted. Before we move into resolutions, earlier this evening, there were 4 resolutions that were discussed during executive session. It was agreed they would be added to the agenda this evening. I will read them to you now. Resolution 156-2018, resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Morristown and the County of Morris authorizing settlement of the 2017 and 2018 tax appeals entitled KTM Properties LLC versus the Town of Morristown for 74 Chestnut Street in the Town of Morristown, Morris County, New Jersey. 157-2018, resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Morristown and the County of Morris authorizing settlement of the 2017 and 2018 tax appeals entitled KTM Properties LLC versus the Town of Morristown for 19 Vale Place in the Town of Morristown, Morris County, New Jersey. 158-2018, resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Morristown and the County of Morris authorizing settlement of the 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013, and 2014 tax appeals entitled 131 Madison Avenue Realty LLC versus the Town of Morristown for 131 Madison Avenue in the Town of Morristown, Morris County, New Jersey. And finally, 159-2018, resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Morristown and the County of Morris authorizing settlement of the 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016, and 2017 tax appeals entitled Gruber, Benjamin, and Edward versus the Town of Morristown for 66 Maple Avenue in the Town of Morristown, Morris County, New Jersey. Can I have a motion to add 156-2018 through 159-2018 to the regular agenda, please?
Motion?
I'd like to make, I'll second.
Okay, Councilman Armington?
Yes.
Councilwoman Davis?
Yes.
Councilwoman Deeb?
Yes.
Councilman Elms?
Yes.
Councilman Iannacone?
Yes.
Councilman Silva?
Yes.
Council President Foster?
Yes.
With that, there are now 15 resolutions on the agenda for adoption. Unless a member of council would like to pull one for separate discussion, I would take a motion for adoption of 156 through 170-2018 en masse.
I make a motion to take 156 to 170 in Moss.
I'll second.
Okay. Councilman Armington?
Yes.
Councilwoman Davis?
Yes.
Councilwoman Deeb?
Yes.
Councilman Elms?
Yes.
Councilman Iannacone?
Yes.
Councilman Silva?
Yes.
And Council President Foster?
Yes.
Motion carries. Those resolutions are adopted.
Okay, moving on to unfinished old business. Councilman Armington, you wanted to have the bed and breakfast regulations added to the agenda, so would you like to discuss that?
Sure. So back in 2017, the town council introduced a ordinance to create 4 licenses for bed and breakfasts and established certain criteria under which they could be operating. The council introduced that ordinance, at which point it went to the planning division, and over the next 8 months, the planning division worked with the Historic Preservation Commission and me and the administration to vet it through other municipalities and some best practices, and they've come up with their best effort at an ordinance. Since the ordinance passed the 2017-2018 schedule, the ordinance is null and void. So I bring it back to you to see if there's interest in reintroducing an ordinance that would allow for, in this case, 4 licenses for bed and breakfasts under certain circumstances. So if the council is willing, I'll offer it to the council president to put on the agenda.
Agenda for next?
Yeah.
Are there any comments from council members you'd like to discuss?
I have a couple of questions. I know at the time that we've brought this up before, there was a lot of concern with the public as to these houses becoming boarding houses. So, because this issue has come up a couple of times. I think it came up in 2009, and then it was tabled for these concerns, some of these concerns, and then recently, as the councilman just stated. So that's one concern I have that I would like to see vetted with the people and the public. The other question that came up in the past too was zoning. So can these bed and breakfasts be anywhere? Can they be restricted to certain areas? I know there was concern about some people who moved into a single-family residential neighborhood, and then they didn't expect to have a bed and breakfast right next door that would allow permissibly someone to stay up to, but not to exceed 30 days. So I would like to see that clause checked. And then thirdly, I would like to see the taxes checked. I know you talk about that they have to register, so that will enable the taxes to be charged and not like an Airbnb, so that they would be potentially evaded, but I'd like to see how that would be enforced. So I think it's a worthy idea, definitely for Historic Morristown to consider, but I'd like to be sure that some of these concerns are addressed. If they have been, great. If they haven't, I'd like to see at least some kind of outreach with the community that's documented, that we could see that it's acceptable.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All righty, well, at this time...
Well articulated.
Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome.
All right, so do you want time to address some of those concerns before we put it on the next meeting?
Let's wait a little while. Let me sit down with the planning department and the administration and see if we can come up with a language, make sure the language specifically addresses these 3 items, because I know this is a long-standing question about the viability of bed and breakfasts, and I'm sure everyone wants to do it right the first time, and that.
Right.
Sure, we'll work with you. We'll work with you, Councilman, whatever you need from us.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for your...
Oh, you're welcome. Council President, can I possibly suggest 2 items for new business for the next meeting?
Sure.
One would be to, just as a memory jog and reminder, to visit the issue of the parking on Western. I know it's been a big concern, and it's not an easy one to solve. But there was a representative from the public here tonight. And I know that the administrator said they were going to report back, but however you want to represent that. And then we did approve tonight in the minutes from 2017 on the issue of bamboo on public property. And bamboo, as you may know, is an invasive species. And at that meeting, myself and Council President Armington had asked then the clerk, Harris, to obtain ordinances from other municipalities. Did that issue ever get resolved where there was bamboo being planted on public?
You know, I can't remember. I know we talked about it, we discussed it.
And
It was
private
bamboo
property?
on public property, not private property, public property. I know Linda Carrington spoke on it.
'Cause it is an invasive species and it spreads everywhere.
Let's go back and look and see what we can find, and we'll report back to you.
Okay, because if not, I would like to present an ordinance for consideration to control that.
Okay.
It's like a rat.
We don't want that. Okay, motion to adjourn? Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
In the green world.
It's like...